Welcome back in. Big shout out to all the subscribers. I've got a ton of stuff to get into, so let's just jump into it right now. Excuse me if I sound a little bit sick. It's because I am. I'm catching all the flus this season. But here we go. Today I'm going over. We had our YouTube channel auction. We kicked that off. It was amazing. It was the most competitive auction I've been in yet. So at the end, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to break down the teams. We're going to look at players and prices, and I'm going to give out some team grades. But first, I want to get into some spring players. You got a couple more drafts going on. There's been some movers and some shakers. I want to help you round out your teams. So let me just go through some players here to make sure that you're keeping the end of your draft tight. You know, you could go out and you could draft average players, old men, people we've heard about for a lot of seasons, or you can take some shots on some more upside. And there's some camp developments you probably should be aware of. I'm going to list some guys right here for you. First, that Milwaukee starting rotation. We got to talk about Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff. Corbin Burnes was a reliever, so he's a RPSP moving into the starting rotation. And Woodruff both flashed low ERAs, low FIP and XFIP. You got to keep them in mind, maybe fill your rotation out there. There's some talk that Corbin Burnes could be the ace of the staff. Got to take a look at his stuff. I threw some shade on Marcell Ozuna because I was concerned about the shoulder injury. I don't want anybody coming off of shoulder surgeries for any reason coming back to play baseball because of the torque and where the injury is. But I went back to Marcell Ozuna's numbers, and he's a serious hitter. He's a serious park change, first year not good, second year good player. So I think he deserves a little bump up. If you're getting a little bit lost in the outfield and you missed out on Puig, Ozuna's still there for you. I think he's safe. Nick Senzel, he's not sent down yet. They didn't send him down yet. Vladdy's down. Eloy is down, but Senzel's not down. He's hitting leadoff. He's stealing bases, hitting 300. He might get that job. Vladdy Senzel trapdoor approach at third base. Senzel's going to be flying up draft boards. He looks like a stud. He's built like a stud in the box. I'm not sleeping there. I would love for him to break camp because I have him all over the place. We got Brandon Lowe, second base eligible in Tampa Bay. They just paid him. They paid him, so he's going to be up and playing. He's a nice option for some power at your middle infield. Some guys you may never heard of. Outfielder for the Detroit Tigers, Kristen Stewart. Looks like he solidified himself a starting role in that outfield. He's got a little bit of pop. Take a look at him. I'm liking some Ty Buttrey at the Los Angeles Angels. Buttrey flashed some serious strikeout potential. He throws hard, and I don't really trust Cody Allen. Cody Allen's ERA spiked a little bit. He likes to periodically blow a save about 1 in every 5. If they yank him out of that job and put him in a high leverage position, Buttrey could get you some saves. He'll also give you some ratios and some Ks if you're just using them in relief. I like him there. Jesus Luzardo, little filthy strikeout machine up in the Los Angeles A's. They haven't sent him down yet. Why waste the bullets in AAA when you could just have him up at the big show? Jesus Luzardo is worth a look as a starting pitcher late. Another starting pitcher who just keeps hanging in there, Chris Paddock. I do think San Diego's going to send him down. It makes no financial sense to have him start up in the show this season, but he continues to strike guys out at a tremendous rate. The changeup is just disgusting. So you got to look at Paddock and SD. He could make the rotation. Another youngster looking to make the rotation again this season, Touki Toussaint. The opinions on him are mixed. Some people think he's dirty. Some think the stuff maybe isn't there. But hey, he's young. And you know, the Atlanta Braves, they have tons of prospects. They have tons of options at SP. So if they give Toussaint the nod, that's because he's better than a lot of other good guys. Behind him, a name to keep in mind might be Wright, but it looks like Toussaint has a job. Give him a shot late. You know who got sent down was Mike Soroka. He can't get healthy. Luis Gohara, he can't get healthy. So those guys are out of the rotations. I like them in the future if they ever come up. Names to keep in mind, but Toussaint looks like he won the job there in Atlanta. Pete Alonso, don't call him Peter anymore. He wants to go by Pete. Pete Alonso continues to mash. He's trying to wrestle that first base job away from Dominic Smith for the New York Mets. I think you have to consider Alonso, at least give him a flyer. If it comes out that he's the starting first baseman, are we talking 330 home runs? We could be. He's worth a flyer there. Another Met I'm keeping my eye on is McNeil, 26, makes a lot of contact. He's going to bounce all around. He's going to start two-base eligible. He's probably going to gain third. He's going to gain outfield. Nice option late. You know, the secret's not out yet. You can get him basically for free in late rounds. Keston Hiura of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's a second baseman. He's being blocked right now by the signing of Moustakas, but he continues to mash. He's a serious prospect in the system. Got to keep your eye on Keston Hiura. I don't think he's going to break camp. He's more of a call-up, but take a flyer. Throw him on your bench. Starting pitchers in St. Louis. We know Alex Reyes didn't get the job yet. He's probably going to start in the pen. Maybe they send him down to AAA and stretch him out. One way or another, please just make him a starter. And please stay healthy. He will be completely ridiculous if he gets a starting rotation job and stays healthy for 120 innings. I can't wait. But the arm I want to talk about in St. Louis truly is Dakota Hudson, a young prospect. He's been firing gems in the preseason. He looks like he could grab a starting job there with the injuries to Carlos Martinez and other members of the staff. Keep an eye on Dakota Hudson. Word came out in Los Angeles that Verdugo, an outfielder, former pitcher turned outfielder, highly ranked prospect in the Dodger system, Alex Verdugo, should break camp. I looked into Verdugo. Well, why? What is he doing that's different from an Eloy or somebody else? And it's because he makes contact. The other kind of contact he makes is O contact outside the zone. That's why, because Verdugo looks like he's just going to hit. And you know what? I'll draft talent. Jock Peterson continues to get platooned. We thought he was great, but he turned out to be maybe sub-average. Alex Verdugo's a guy I like late. Even if I have to sprinkle him in and sub him in my daily lineups, I'm keeping my eye there. The Miami Marlins staff keeps getting a lot of hype here in the preseason. A couple of the names there are Pablo Lopez, Caleb Smith, who was good at the beginning of last season and then succumbed to a lat strain, and the main man over there is Trevor Richards. If you're looking to bolster that late rotation, keep these arms in mind. Trevor Richards over Pablo Lopez, but Pablo Lopez is a name to keep in mind there. Francisco Mejia, the backup catcher in San Diego, he continues to mash in the spring. We're concerned about the at-bats because of the other catcher in the system, but maybe Mejia just mashes his way into a role. The thing I like is that when he's hitting, when he's catching or, DHing in interleague play, they bat him like fourth or fifth. He's in there to clean up. Apparently he can hit any ball, high, low, anywhere he wants to go with it. They're trying to work on his plate discipline a little bit. We got to sort through that second base situation in Colorado. Continue to be aggressive on Hampson. Ignore the hamstring strains. Ignore the hamstring fatigue that they're talking about. Ignore Ryan McMahon maybe taking his job. I continue to believe that Hampson could be an absolute beast. He got back in the lineup. He took some bases. They're moving him around. He might play outfield, left field, second. Just be better than McMahon. Yeah, McMahon's a prospect, but I looked at the profile, and he's strikeouty. He lacks the contact. The O-swing is too high. So I like Hampson to win that job. Continue to draft as his price looks like it's falling because some of those spring hamstring issues. Julio Urias, maybe a lot of upside there. He's going to get limited innings, but he's still worth the stash. Tatis Jr., I think he already got sent down. He's going to get sent down because they want that extra year of control. But Tatis Jr., gosh, it looks like when he comes up, he's going to be a stud. 6'3", toolsy, and spring they're batting him in the middle of the order. Can't wait for him to come up. He's been a guy I'm stashing all over the place. You got a man named Duggar in the San Francisco outfield. He's got a little bit of speed. And the other thing I'm keeping my eye on is the San Diego is talking with Cleveland about trading a pitcher or something for an outfielder. They want Bauer. They want Kluber. They want to bring somebody in because San Diego thinks they can win now. And that logjam in the outfield is so problematic between putting Myers out there, Renfroe and Franmil. Margot is in there. Margot's out there. And then you got Franchi Cordero, the StatCast beast, who the manager's talking about, we got to get this guy 500 ABs. We got to unlock Franchi Cordero with his ridiculous exit velocities and his high-end sprint speed. So I want little pieces of this outfield because one move, they ship a couple of these guys out to Cleveland who desperately needs an outfielder for a pitcher, and we might unlock everybody. I'd like to just see, I like Franmil. I like Franchi because of the exit velocities, because of the power. Renfroe has real power too. Do what you got to do there. Those are my spring training quick hits. You got to get used to those players. Look at them. Push them up your draft boards and get them late. They're basically coming for free. The rest of the time here, we got to talk about how this auction went down. I got to give you some draft takeaways. First thing that was key, we had 100% attendance. Everybody showed up. And something special happens in the auction when everybody's in there. You don't get any bot enforcement. There's no bots. There's no just throwing trash into the bot and watching it overpay and draining money out of the draft. You put an injured player up in a 12-man auction where everybody's in, you're probably going to get that injured player. So none of that's happening. That kept the money really smart early. And what we saw, because everybody's in there and everyone's trying to build their teams, there was early aggression. The prices were just skyrocketing. The testosterone, everything's flying around. Prices were going super high. So we had to make adjustments. I mean, were you just deer in the headlights? Oh my God, why is everybody going for 40 plus? It's, you're suddenly your values don't mean anything, and you kind of have to adapt to the different nature of the draft. Another big takeaway from the draft, the whole league was relatively low on closers. There was no urgency to nominate closers. There was no urgency to pay up for closers. Closers were going so cheap compared to other drafts. If your plan was to go in and get a bunch of closers and win saves, you were going to be able to do that easily. I believe Edwin Diaz went for only 15. Everybody after that went even a little bit lower. So again, there was just more money in the auction. You weren't able to just extract that dumb money. People had money. And because these are guys that have been watching the channel. These are the OGs that have been here, and they wanted to get into this auction and get serious. Everybody knew to live late. These weren't rookies. This wasn't a noob auction. Money was being saved. Money was being calculated and getting pressed down. So everybody was there to live late. And if everyone's living late, now you've got to find a new way to kind of make it work. You're not just going to take advantage of a room full of noobs. It's nice to see the evolution of the draft, of the auctions, as people start to get better. And some of these strategies that work on kind of basic auction rooms aren't going to work on everywhere else as people learn to adapt. I'm just going to give you some takeaways I had from the auction and some strategy things that I refined before I jump into the team grades and we do some prices breakdown. But living late is precision money management. Dollar for dollar. How many guys do I have left? What is $2 per player? What's my room? How big is my sword? Can I take a swing at a $5 player? If you're down to 11 players, that's $22 for $2 each, and you have $28, you've only got $7. If you spend $14 on a player, you are not living late anymore. You've got to have some restraint. Really be precise as the money goes down. Don't just look at the number and say, I've got $99. I mean, who are the $99? Who is it going to go to? And how are you going to spend it that last second? You've got to have a little bit of a strategy. I mean, are there guys late in the draft that you have to have? What if they're nominated early? Is this guy a key building block? Because if you miss a building block that gets nominated early, you're either going to have to drop down to something else if there's something else there, or you're going to have to pay up for a better option. Don't just be caught in no man's land and end up with a giant hole. That's why I like to have strategies, know who I have to have. And then I'm coming up with this idea of class value because let's say, top end shortstops, and it happens to me. I'll get into it a little bit further. But the last guy of a tier, when everybody's going to get desperate, and it's going to happen at first base, it's going to happen at shortstop, he's going to go up. He's going to be priced up because there's no other option, and we don't want to be stuck down there with that second tier of players. So maybe you got to understand in a group of players, if it's Lindor, Breggs, Story, Trey, what are the values in there? Get the cheap one, get the one in the middle, especially when the rest run out. And, nomination grades, nominating, that's the difference in the draft. Are the guys going to be crazy? Are they going to be nominating all the sleepers? Is it going to be Vlad and Eloy in the first 5 picks? Or are they just going to wait? Are those guys going to fall to the wayside? You never know, so you got to be ready to adjust there. And if you're buying $40 players, if you're going to get a high-end player, 45, 50, whatever it might be, you need $10 players. You need 10s. So if you're a 40, get some 10s. If you're doing 35s, you can't be 40, 45, 40, 35, 35, but you're going to be out of money. You got to balance that out with some cheaper guys. So let me get into the details of this auction and drop some grades here. All 12 guys make it in. I'm going in reverse order from the way the end of the draft projected the stats. Not that I put any value in those projections because those are based on like Steamer and we're anticipating upside and a lot of things could change. But I'm going to go in reverse order based on the projections. The first team we have here is Dead Money. The projections had him at just a 56 for his overall grade. And let's talk a little bit about how his draft went. I'm pulling his name up right here. Overall, I liked Dead Money's draft. He starts off with the Jose Ramirez for $40. Starts second pick Alex Bregman for $33 value. And I describe these guys as probably 2 of the safest men in the draft. They walk more than they strike out. They command the plate. Their power speed options. Great start. Goes up, grabs Mr. Bryce Harper for $42. Follows it up with Blackmon for $33. Those are kind of his four cornerstones of his team. And then he's got to look for some value. Blake Trinan for just $11. Jack Flaherty, his first ace at $18. Eloy Jimenez for $16. This was a draft. Eloy wasn't going cheap. This wasn't $10 Eloy. It was $16 Eloy. I still think that's a good price. David Dahl kind of fell through the cracks. He gets him for $13. Mitch Haniger for $14. At this point, this outfield is stacked. His outfield has spilled over into his utility position. He's got a nice team there. Cole Hamels, the old man, went for $2. Just slept him through. Goes for almost nothing. Mike Moustakas for $13. His last real battle. And then he lived late a little bit, rounds it out with a Ken Giles, Brian Dozier. This is what I mean, though, with the 14th pick. This is smart buying. Yu Darvish for $7. Looks like he won a little bit of a war with the former ace. Gets him with the 159th pick. $2 Scope, $2 Vizcaino, $3 Buxton. My goodness. With the late Buxton and the spring training raking that he's been going through, Jesus Luzardo for $1, Wellington Castillo, $1 catcher, Pedro Strop with the hamstring, $1, Hunter Strickland, $1, Tyler Skaggs and CJ Cron, the $1 holler, 25 to 30 home runs. This is a good team. He was picking who he wanted, 17 picks into the draft, has high-end options, very safe, built around Bryce Harper. I'm giving this team an A-, but after further review, this could be an A. Obviously, I don't agree with where the Yahoo projections had him, but that's that team. I got to keep it moving along here. Number 11 says the Yahoo projections was the answer. The answer gets in this draft. Give me a second while I pull up his team. Here he goes. And like we said, there was going to be aggression. Trey Turner, his first pick, $52. Trey Turner alert. If you want him, you're going to have to pay. The answer could not be pushed around. He gets Trey for $52. His second pick, he wants a piece of Ronald Acuna Jr. Make a guess at it. What do you think he went for, boys? $57 for Ronald Acuna. You're going to have to pay to get your guy. Aaron Judge for $43. He is going for high-end talent. Gets his first ace of Corey Kluber for $30. That's decent. Obviously, a man here who likes young upside gets a Vlad Guerrero for $25. That's reasonable. His next ace, James Paxton, for $19. Matt Carpenter at $16. You guys know I don't love Matt, so I wouldn't go there, but he is a solid hitter. He's a veteran. Wade Davis, his first closer, for $3. But then in the auction, he had to go out early. Probably had some business to take care of. He went full auto pick, and auto pick decimated his team. $1 players. I'm not even going to list them. They were just $1 stuff that nobody wanted. Franco, Bruce Trumbo, C. Davis, and it was bad. So his draft was limited. He got the high-end players. He's going to have to work on the waiver. I can really only give this team a C+. I mean, we're looking at a couple overpays. Get your players, but if you don't round it out, if you don't build around high-end players, I think that their gains can be washed away. I'm only going C+ there. The next team was myself at number 10. The Yahoo auction has me at just a number 10. And honestly, boys, I struggled. Like I said, this was the hardest draft I had been in, and nothing came easy at all for me in here. Let me find my squad for a second so I can do a little breakdown in some of the issues I was having. So, Adalberto Mondesi, he gets popped early. He's my first player for $20. I'll take that. I apparently still am the high guy in Adalberto, despite some of the negative press he's getting. And this is what happened to me. My second pick, Francisco Lindor, for $47. I want $33 Lindor, $35 Lindor, but $47? What happened was Story went for $33. Breggs was gone. Trey was gone. I needed Lindor. I needed that high-end shortstop. It was early enough. I was going to do whatever it took, and apparently it took $47. I didn't want to end up in that Bogart, Seager, Correa realm. Maybe I could have slid Adalberto over to second base, but I think there's a huge problem at second base, and I don't like any of the other options I paid up here. I tried to get AC, so an early nomination of Buehler, go out and get my guy $24, Bauer $27. I'm just falling back into my own habits again. Juan Soto for $30. I'll take that little bit of a value. And then rounding out the usual, I went for some Rhys Hoskins. Would have loved him for $25 for his average auction value. But as 1B was dwindling, I had to pay up for Rhys Hoskins $32. My stack is dwindling with all those overpays. I round the squad out with a Victor Robles for $15, Miguel Andujar for $15. Get AC. I thought Zach Wheeler might go cheap, but 120 picks into the draft, still forced to pay $17 for a Zach Wheeler. Francisco Mejia, my catcher. Shohei Ohtani for $13. That was in a huge battle late. Last player I got the money in for after losing out on Voit to Grandal Opry and then a little bit of Live Late. All that was really left for me was closers. I got really closer heavy. Jordan Hicks for 2, Colomé for 2, Tatis Jr. stash, Ramon Laureano. Glad to see that he's batting leadoff to start the season in the first MLB game of the season yesterday. Domingo Santana 1, Franmil 1, Will Smith, Ray Lopez, Archie Bradley, Corbin Burns, Michael Givens, Michael Waka. Okay draft. I'm not happy with it. Overpaid. I feel a little bit light in the seat. I'm giving myself a B-. How much time do I have here? I got to power through. We're going to keep going through these with some prices. The number 9 team, Gap Slappin' Pimps. Let me pull up his squad here, tell you a little bit how I thought he did. Gap Slappin' had a nice draft. Starts off with JD Martinez, 42. That's reasonable. Garrett Cole gets his ace for 35. Benintendi for 27, slight discount. Roberto Ozuna for 8, that's nothing. He paid nothing for Roberto Ozuna, probably a top 5 closer. Matt Olson at 1B for 18. Eugenio Suarez, 19. Ozzy Albies, 19. Patrick Corbin for 20, another ace, fairly cheap for 20. Villar for that speed for 16. Justin Turner, 12. Jose Leclerc, 6. Nothing. Robbie Ray for 10. Hicks for 6. Moncada for 3. Estudio for 1. But he's living late. I know that these are little snipes because he's got Alex Reyes for 3. Newcomb for 3. Ahmed Rosario for 2. Happ for 2. Godley for 3. Bundy for 3. Palka for 2. Mats for 1. I like this team. Gap Slappin' Pimps, I give him an A-. Probably his biggest turning point this season. He needs Olsen and Albies, the right side of his infield, to take a step forward. This is a nice team right here. Next we have up Casey's Cool Team. Let me pull them up here. Casey's Cool Team. First pick, Nolan Arenado, 54. Prices are up. Stanton, 41. Block Snell, 36. So there's Block A Snell. that little bump up. You know, we were loving Block A at 30, 36. He's paying ace prices for his ace. Lorenzo Kane, 18. Whit Merrifield, 28. Almost 30 for Whit. Marcell Ozuna for 20. That's going to be value. David Price, 7. Abreu, 17. Clevenger, 18. Desmond, 7. Justin Smoke, 2. And then we see some $1 options. I think that Casey's team got caught. That last Mike Clevenger pick, Ian Desmond for 7, might have been his get-it-all-in player. He was down to $1 options to round his team out. I question a little bit about the depth. He's got maybe too many bench bats. The thing with having too many bench bats, you may be showing stats, offensive power stats, but you can't get all your bench bats into the lineup at the same time. I got to fly through this. California Waves, the number 6 squad here. Where is he at? I'm finding him right here. California Waves. Clayton Kershaw. He's going to take a shot. 16. Verlander, 28. Rizzo, 28. Seager, 18. Diaz, 15. That's nothing. Rendon, 25. Value. Bellinger, 29. Hader for 8. Archer, 12. Puig, 24. Hand, 10. Castillo, 9. Value. Contreras, 6. McCutchen, 10. He stayed alive. He was working in all phases of the draft with a Braun for 3, Schwarber for 3, Cesar Hernandez 3, Lucchesi 6, Chris Taylor, Quintana, Tim Anderson, Bader, Rich Hill. I like this squad. California Waves worked all sub-$30 players, allowing him to continue to dictate the draft for 200 picks, where he gets Lucchesi as his 18th guy. I think he's deep. I think he has value. The question might be the star upside. Next, we have Randy's team here. This is Stars and Scrubs. If you're going to go Stars and Scrubs, here is Stars and Scrubs doing it right. Yahoo liked him as the projections. Mookie Betts, 55. Trevor Story, 34. Mike Trout, 59. Kristen Yelich, 47. Chris Sale, 43. His stack is gone. He bought 5 players. I'm a little nervous about Sale as the only ace. I won't mention the $1 guys. He's got work to do on the waivers, but will Betts, Trout, and Yelich with Story just steamroll teams throughout the season? It's yet to be seen. He's full Stars and Scrubs. I give him a B+. California Waves, B+. H2O Long Bombers, B+ in case I didn't mention it. Number 4 team here, OB Long Ballers. I'll give you his grade right now so I don't forget. I gave OB a B for the squad here. I may be being a little strict with the grades, but let me see what I saw here. He's got DeGrom for 37, Goldie for 32, and then value. He lived with value. Bogart, 16, D. Gordon, 8, Votto, 19, Gary Sanchez, 16, could be a steal. Will Myers, 15, Upton, 16, Nelson Cruz, 16, Kimbrel, 12, Jansen, 13, Glasnow, 6, Bumgarner, 11, Pollock, 10. With all that value, he continued to get who he wanted and round this team out. We got some Keuchel for 3, Malik Smith 5, Cody Allen, Billy Hamilton, Folty, Ryu, Eric Hosmer, Arrieta, all for 3. My only issues here is the team a little bit old. Is D. Gordon and Pollock, is the health there? I give this squad a B. I like it. I think he did what he wanted to do in the draft. We're going to have to see the results in season. Ryan's team, I'm giving him a B+. Ryan's team, third from the top here. Altuve for 43. Chris Bryant, 32. Syndergaard, 30. Tommy Pham, 17. Talon, 17. Chapman, 13. Continue to get value living in all phases. Vasquez for 8. Kyle Hendricks for 6. Eddie Rosario, 17. Conforto for 10. Steal. Josh Donaldson, 9. Could be value. Andres, 2. Iglesias, 5. Matt Chapman, last time he had to get it in with his 14th player for 14. Saved 9 from Miles Michaelis. Eduardo Rodriguez, 4. Miguel Cabrera, Wilson Ramos, DeJong, Bowers, Grandal, Musgrove, and Kyle Freeland, all for $3. Dictating the draft, living late. I like this squad. If Donaldson and Andrews break out and Altuve returns to form, this team could be a dominant force. B+, almost A- as I review some of this. The number 2 squad by Yahoo, Bayou Bombers, Max Scherzer for 41, Chris Davis 27, Real Muto 26, Severino for 9, Take the flyer. Daniel Murphy, 26, Gallo, 13, Shaw, 13, Bieber, 11, Mazzara, 9, Jeanette, 6, Cano, 12. Bayou Bombers just stayed in there and just found his value. Pavetta for 6, Mancini, Brantley for just 5, Odor for just 6, Garrett Hampson for 5, Peraza for 10, Nick Senzel for 3. He saved cash to do what he wanted. Charlie Morton for 6, Ender Inciarte 6, Josh James, Maeda, Luke Weaver. I like this squad. It's a little light on saves. Are there enough star bats? Is this going to be a team effort? Need to see it from Real Muto. This is the number 2 team. I'm going B+ to A-, and then the Grand Ole Opry, the number 1 team in the draft. I'm giving him the straight up A. Let me tell you how this went for him. Javi Baez, 33, Freeman, 34, Carlos Carrasco, 27, Nola, 30, Carlos Correa, 20, Castellanos, 16, Marquez, 16, Tanaka, 10, Alvarado, 3, Danny Jansen, 3, Devers, 9. What happened was Grand Ole Opry saved and was big stack. Threw his weight around through the entire end of the draft. Devers, Knebel, Grichuk, Ross Stripling for 14, Trevor May for 3, Luke Voigt, who I couldn't get a piece of, for 10, David Robinson, Hunter Renfroe, Winker, Strom, Paddock, Whitley, Betances. Grand Ole Opry got whoever he wanted towards the end of this draft. And I like the squad. I like the balance. He's got a very light bat bench. All those bats are getting time in the lineup. He's deep with starting pitching. Team looks playoff ready. That was the auction. Those are some prices. I wanted to review the teams, give you an idea of what an aggressive draft looked like. And just to throw it in there, after I learned some lessons here, I jumped back into my Yahoo Winners League auction. Got in there, resumed just pushing guys all around in the draft, having my way. I grabbed a Mike Trout, Vlad Guerrero, Marquez, Trey Turner, Voigt, Bieber. Really did whatever I wanted. Learned my lesson that for the guys that I need to build with late, if I know there's a pinch point, there's some guys in the auction that are just mispriced. Like Bieber is $5, that's false. Luke Voigt at this point with all the hype for $3, that's not going to happen. So I just wanted to get those players, nominate them earlier in the draft, because guys might not know that Luke Voigt is a building piece for them until it's too late. So sometimes if that's sleeper, if it's a Garrett Hampson, something you got to get a piece of, if it's Strom, Paddock, Luzardo, throw them up there, get them while guys think there's other options out there, because then they're not as likely to stay aggressive for them. That's the reason to mix it in. Don't mix in too early though, because you will have to pay that little bit of premium because there's cash in the draft. Hopefully those notes helped you guys. Big shout out to the subscribers. I mean, how are these podcasts? How are you dropping a starting pitcher's top 100 now? I mean, how many drafts are there left? But the stuff is still coming out. Appreciate all the comments. Welcome in all the new subscribers. The season's kicking off. Everyone's got to be pumped. Let me know how your drafts are going. We're going to have to talk about waiver wires. We're going to have to do some advanced scouting. Holla back.